Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a very, very late episode of Fortnightly Frontier. Originally we named this show because we were supposed to come out every 2 weeks, but now it's been quite a while, and my fault. Sorry, mea culpa. I had problems, real life problems.
Tell us about your problems, because I think the audience is owed an explanation there, Dodge.
Right? Yes. Well, first
Where were
off,
you?
I am Darjanator over there. That one mirrored. Yes, is Myre. We are your host for tonight. We shall be talking about Star Citizen at some point, but first, story time. Yes, as Myre has alluded to. Gamescom happened. Jesus Christ, that was quite a while ago, wasn't it? Already.
Yep.
Yeah, and afterwards, I went on a little thing called the Nürburgring, which I am wont to do. It's like a little, it's a big racetrack, quite close to Cologne, in Germany. And then I had car problems, unfortunately. I could go into full car mode and bore people to death with it, but the short of it is, I spent an extra week in Germany trying to either fix my car or get it home cheaply. And after a week of searching, I finally actually made it back home. But then several more days, even more than a week passed until I was done with everything that was associated with it, fixing it, getting people that fixed it not to kill me because it'd been such a fucking nuisance ever since, and he's just fallen asleep. Damn it. See, this is why I didn't want to tell the story in the first place. Anyway, the nightmare's over, everything's fine, and we're back. What did I miss?
Not much, I suppose. You missed a couple of, around the verses. Pretty much it, really.
Yeah. I did watch those. I had internet access. I was staying with a friend.
All right, in that case, you missed nothing.
My previous co-host of Fortnightly Frontier, before your time, actually.
Before my time?
Before your time.
What do you mean? What do you mean? You roped me in as a special guest one day. The following week, he wasn't anywhere to be seen, and you were like, "Hey, Myre, by the way, you're now number 2."
Just that. Yeah, I'm still quite fascinated at how all of that actually worked out. You saved my bacon back then, and thank you for that.
I find it hard to say no, and maybe I should have.
Okay, if that's the case, I have a list of things here.
Oh, no.
You mean you found it hard to say no, but you learned hard.
Yes, I suppose so. Man, I'm busy looking at myself in this thing and being like, oh my god, I'm so vain. I'm like, anyway.
Yes.
Character customization coming soon.
And what's been happening with you?
Not much since I came back from Gamescom. Gamescom was awesome, though, I have to say. Mm-hmm. It was a great experience, one that I don't think I'm going to get anytime soon, but at the same time, I'm hopeful for the future. It was really cool to be on the stream team with DJ and Gamble, and it was a lot of fun. It was great. I don't think that after Gamescom, I don't feel like if I was to go to another convention, I don't think I could really enjoy it as much as I have previous ones, simply because of, I suppose, the way things worked when you were actually on the other side of the fence. Just some weird things. I mean, I didn't actually get to do much with other booths and stuff, but I seriously enjoyed the work at the booth and stuff like that. It was great. But yeah, what's new with me? Just
so you won't
stuff.
Be enjoying going to CitizenCon with me.
CitizenCon is a different beast entirely. CitizenCon is a Star Citizen thing, as opposed to Gamescom, which is just everything. Yeah.
True. True. That's true. Yeah.
But yeah. So what's new apart from Gamescom? Bulkheads is well into the production of season 6. We have a few more people.
6 already? How many?
Episode
How,
6.
how fucking long was I away? Damn it. It's gotta have been 5 years.
What year is it?
year is it?
No, I meant to say episode 6. So well in the way to episode
Right.
6. We've got several more people in on the cast on the post-production side of things. We have a few shorts that we're working on, which are pretty phenomenal, I have to say. They're like almost on par with 3.0 in terms of like the fidelity.
Fidelity, yes. That is one of the
Yeah.
key words.
Yes. But apart from that, just that and just
Yeah.
voice work, yeah.
Just voice work, streaming,
work,
the usual. Yeah. So after Gamescom, it was back to the old dredge.
Really, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so after 3.0 demo, back to 2.6.3 drudgery.
Speaking of 3.0, that was quite a thing that you got to play for
Yeah.
3 days straight.
Yeah, I mean, like, bear in mind, I mean, it was just like, as they say, a demo of what was to come. Many features, in fact, were missing, such as, like, well, everything. Quantum driving, lots of the ships, like guns, the ability to actually, like, go into your mobi-glass and do stuff and look at the maps and stuff. But it was cool. It was cool. It's pretty neat. Yeah.
There was no There were no orbital mechanics, I believe, right?
Not as far as I could tell, but I mean, it's pretty...
The moon did not rotate, so you didn't get the sun moving along.
Not as far as I
sky.
could tell, because we did keep having to cycle the servers every 15 minutes.
That's true,
To
yeah.
accommodate the new people on the show floor. So if the planets were in fact moving or rotating at all, we wouldn't have been able to tell, unless the intended goal is for the planets to, their day cycles to be super fast, which I don't think is the intention.
Right. Nothing like Minecraft where you can actually look at the sun and just go.
Tick, tick, tick. Yeah. No.
Yeah. No. Well, that's cool. So, in your own opinion, nothing that you were told or shown, how long would you think until like how well polished and finished did the build that you play seem?
So again, the build that we played didn't really have too many features, but the features that were there were great. In terms of the build quality and the build stability, we only had 2 crashes on 2 separate days. Like everything else was pretty smooth. But then again, I mean, a lot of things that could have been there that could potentially ruin things or make things crash weren't there. We don't know the state of missions. We don't know the state of many other things. We don't know the state of many vehicles. So but everything that was there worked and was a great experience. It was very pretty.
Oh yes, I think I've seen the presentation that we were looking at right now quite a few times already.
Right.
In terms of actual representation of the game, I think it's my favorite so far because before it didn't actually seem like it was part of a game.
Right.
But it felt more like a presentation. But now it felt actually like people playing a game.
You mean like, are you comparing Friday's demo to the general show floor stuff, or what exactly? Excuse me, are you talking about there?
It felt like less of a pre-scripted or actually even pre-animated thing, and more like actual people running around and interacting with the actual game.
You're talking about the Gamescom show floor footage, right?
The Gamescom show floor.
I mean, I suppose that's what it was. At the end of the day, I mean, all we were tasked with was basically doing what we always do, find emerging gameplay from the tools that are currently there. I think for the most part, we had a lot of fun. We had some ideas that, were less fun than others, and some ideas that were really good. Really good. If I can blow my own railgun there, you know what I'm saying?
Yes. No, but even the actual presentation part of it, the main presentation seemed more part of the game than say last year's CitizenCon or Gamescom.
I think that's
demos,
because
I
more
think.
people were involved. And so even though it was pretty scripted, because of the nature of trying to corral so many cats, into one pen, it still looked like almost like gameplay. Like Melissa and the rest of the QA team, they're not actors. So like
Exactly. Yeah.
even though what they were saying was scripted, it still felt somewhat organic. Yeah, and in terms of the gameplay as well, it's kind of refreshing that, the reason why it felt like it was just gameplay was because it really was. It was just a build like this build that had more or less, just more features, really. More features were unlocked or untapped. So, of course, there were bugs, and we got to see them. And that's one thing that also led to the whole feeling of it being the game. And I feel like even though there were a bunch of crashes, 2 crashes in that presentation, it still lent to the whole, hey, by the way, this is still, like a work in progress.
This is not on rails. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think I just finally realized what it was that bothered me about the FOIP. This is completely different. It just popped into my head. What bothered me about the entire face over IP thing? It's Melissa's resting, shit-eating grin.
Can you please rephrase that in a way that doesn't insult Melissa?
Sorry. No, but she was so excited to be part of that. Whenever she wasn't talking, she was just grinning.
Yeah.
Instead of resting normally. And so her character was always just, whenever stopped talking, just went this, like that all the time. Yeah. So no offense to Melissa. I mean, I probably would be doing the same thing. But, this is also why you get actors for it, because they can control their emotions more than people who are just tasked in development of the game.
Yeah, to be honest, I can imagine that there was a lot of pressure on, a lot of nervousness on as well as the fact that you're not really, I doubt she was able to see the way her character looked. And I don't think that they maybe even took that into consideration. I don't know. I don't think anybody just even thought it was a possibility. Yeah. No, but this is me just speculating. But when they were practicing this, I don't think that she had a separate monitor seeing what somebody was seeing. So it's not like she had the chance to, as some people do, go into the bathroom and make faces in the mirror. They didn't really have that opportunity, so she didn't know that, a face that she makes, then she feels like, this is my, relaxing, comfortable face. It made him look like he was on the toilet, because his face and her face aren't one-to-one, like their approximations. Yeah.
Right, yeah. But anyway, I'm excited about voice over IP.
Oh, yeah.
Voice? No, face over IP.
Face over IP, or FOIP. Yeah, thanks to
FOIP,
Faceware.
yeah.
But they mentioned that during character customization and stuff of your characters, when FOIP does come into play, you'll be able to, as you're making the character, pull faces and see how those faces actually get pulled, and you can then tweak your character's face so that it doesn't look like Melissa's character did, in the way that it looked kind of awkward, because of course, her face and her mannerisms don't match the blend shapes that were offered by the actor.
But I think if they were just given time to relax and not be overly excited about the whole thing, for a resting face, she would adopt her normal resting face instead of being all hyped up and excited.
Yeah, but I feel like the whole blend shape issue that I just brought up is probably also one of the reasons why some of the faces looked a bit less either genuine or creepy, and uncanny.
Uncanny valley thing. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's because of the way the blend shapes are taken. Like if you are scanning the head of a typically serious person, and then you're asking them to pull faces just pull faces. Then because that they're pretty serious, I guess, their face is a bit more rigid. When you then try and pull funny and amicable faces, because they don't really have that in their facial repertoire, it does end up looking like a because
exactly. Yeah. It contorts that out of the preset boundaries. Yeah. That's just a matter of tweaking the text. So it may be the way a more simplified way of what Trilateral does, and basically just storing a bunch of extreme faces,
right,
and mapping those so when you pull the same face, it knows what you're trying to do and it will show on the 3D model what that face is normally looks like when it's pulling that face instead of just pulling all the points like into extremes and pulling the mouth like off the jaw or something like that.
I suppose we'll see. So like I guess in the first iteration we'll probably just have preset heads, and then later on in the game we'll actually be able to pull things apart and stuff like that and make them like Mario 64 style if we wanted to, but yeah, I mean it's really interesting. So do you have any other questions about Sturf?
Sturf, how's the Nox to drive?
The Nox, good question actually. Pretty temperamental, I would have to say, in this build. Like if you just go to like a throttle 100 and then just gun in one direction, it's pretty fast, Like I didn't check the 0 to 60, I didn't have a stopwatch on me. But like when you try and turn at full speeds, as you would expect, it drifts, but it drifts quite hard, quite heavy. I don't know the driving terms, perhaps you do. But of course, on the other token, you could mess with the railgun. That was terrible. Oh, did it crash? Okay, never mind. It just cut. But yeah, you could like if you drop the throttle and turn, then you can do these really great acute angles and stuff. I mean, I feel like it'll really lend to racing in Star Citizen if and when we get actual like racing like rallies and stuff for sure.
Right. So how's the throttle like? What's the control scheme for a ground vehicle? Is it like with a spaceship where you select the throttle and then the vehicle maintains that speed, or is it more like in a normal driving game where like with you have to push down the controller and it goes to full throttle, and when you release it stops giving a throttle?
Well, I feel like I have to say that like it's all subject to change, but for the Ursa rover it was like other cars are, and for the Nox it was throttle based.
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder if you could actually attach a racing pedals and use that for throttle. That would be interesting.
That'd be neat, actually. I don't see why not. I don't see why not at all. Yeah.
Because like we experienced before during your last snooze, I am a bit of a car nerd, so I would like to drive properly.
Yeah, why not? But yeah. So I think on the video up there, I think that's me actually.
Were you leaving footprints behind?
Yeah, I
was. Is that in?
Yeah,
awesome.
Footprints are behind,
Great.
although I'm not sure about the decay rate. Then again, the decay rate probably like is something that they can change on a whim, right?
Yeah, that's going to be tweaked, but I'm glad they're in.
Yeah,
because that's cool. I mean, it's probably quite simple. The tech behind it is quite simple. It's basically just a sprite that acts like a texture, I suppose, aesthetic texture that just changes the way light bounces off the ground.
Right.
But yeah, anyway, I'm so super jealous you got to play that. And I was in Germany, but I didn't have a Gamescom pass.
Oh, really?
So
You didn't have a single one? You couldn't buy one? I mean, they're only like £100 a day. I mean, come on, man.
I know.
Mr. Money.
And considering how much money I spent afterwards fixing the car and getting it home, I probably could have afforded to spend my entire time at Gamescom.
Yeah.
But at the time, I just didn't want to spend the money.
Fair enough.
So I haven't played it, even though I was literally minutes away. But well, minutes plus all the hours you have to spend in line.
So apart from all that, there was also the announcement of the 600i from Origin Jumpworks. What do you think about that ship? I mean, I
was there.
I have the brochure.
You have the brochure?
Yeah.
You could play. You could even play the video, but nah, let's not.
I
will play it in the YouTube video.
He will play it in the YouTube video because I'm too lazy to look for it, and it will be really bad because we haven't prepared for this.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't sure if we were gonna talk about it or not, but yes, I was there
Yeah.
for the presentation. I'm robotic again. God,
You're fine now.
okay.
You're fine again.
I am.
Yeah, it healed itself.
It's Discord. It's just Discord.
That's what they all say. It's not me, baby. It's Discord. Anyway, so
I'm
all
cutting
right.
that out.
Yeah.
I really, really like the design of the new Origin ships. Really like it.
Yeah, so actually that's something that happened in the last week or so. And that was the announcement of the X1. Well, not the announcement, but the reveal.
Sneak peek.
The
Yeah, the
sneak peek of the Origin X1. Which
that I actually don't like, but not because of its general design aesthetic, but just because of the shape. I mean, it's got that spindly thing below it, so
it's almost like the driver more or less stands, or they're in like
Yes.
a half squat. As opposed to being like completely prone, like in the Vandal ships and of course the Nox. But
I think I'll just have to wait until we get some proper high resolution images of
definitely.
it until we can see. But overall, the new Origin ships really, really like because all up until now there was nothing as sleek
right.
and as sleek as. Like ships in Star Trek, the Next Generation series.
Okay,
You have
right.
these long sweeping lines, or something that's brand new, and if anybody hasn't seen it yet, check it out. Like 2 days ago, the first episode of The Orville came out, which is Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek parody-ish kind of show. I really like the first episode. And in there, the ships are very sleek and very Star Trek-y.
Okay.
And yes, I always like that design. And I'm glad that we'll have at least one manufacturer who follows that. I'm not going to get the 600i, but I'm actually quite interested what they do with the 300i rework.
Right. Sorry, but this randomly just happened here. This is when I was racing Gamble with the Noxes.
Yeah, I think what happened was your maneuvering thrusters, or at least your hover thing, got destroyed, and then you just kept tumbling on the ground because you were no longer hovering.
So there are many theories as to what happened there. I'll leave that open to the general public, but yeah. I mean, like, I had a similar issue when I was in the heavy armor, and it was easy enough to recover from. But you know how I mentioned how the throttle is, well, it's like the spaceship? I don't think Gamble kind of, like, understood that. And so, like, yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like, I did tell him, like, hey, why don't you do this? And I don't know. Anyway, this is somebody getting blown to shreds. Yep, there we go.
So much fun was had, and I can't wait for 3.0 to hit, so I can have fun as well. I have an Ox.
You have an Nox?
Oh.
Yeah.
I do have an Ox. Yeah. Do you have an Ox?
Yeah, I do. I have to.
We should race.
I would win.
Just because you have more practice?
Yeah. I'm like a number one
Basically, yeah.
Nox death race. Right now.
I saw that.
You.
You saw that. Yeah, you won. And I was just gonna say, how would we set up custom races on Daymar or Yellow, for instance?
With difficulty.
With great difficulty. I don't suppose we could create many new accounts and name them, the usernames, checkpoint 1, checkpoint 2, checkpoint 3, and have them and small ships scattered around the surface and then have to drive all from one to the other.
I think that after enough gameplay, people will become very, very accustomed to the planets, the moons, even though they are pretty huge. Over time, people will come to know where all these different points of interest are. And so it'd be very easy to say, oh, okay, I'll race you from this Ryari thing to this Shubin thing. Everyone will know where it is. Yeah, so I think it won't
Possibly,
be...
yeah.
I don't think it'll be that difficult, to be honest. I mean, once these things are procedurally placed, they're permanent in a way. I don't think they despawn. They've never mentioned that. I don't think that it would be conducive to any kind of like.
Yeah, no, with the amount of work they're going in to place them properly, orient them,
Yeah.
to actually just find the right locations. I don't think they'll be despawning. No.
Yeah.
Definitely not.
So I think that's how races will be done. I was actually thinking about like emerging gameplay and stuff to do with chat and stuff like that when 3.0 comes out. And one thing I was thinking of was actually inspired by when we did a Duel in the Dark. And it's basically zombie horde mode. So what we'd do is that we'd have the streamer or like the streamer and a small group in the dark side of the planet. And then a ship comes and drops maybe like 10 or so viewers. And they then have to come and attack the streamer and his crew with melee attacks in the dark without torchlights. But the crew has torchlights, so they can look around and protect themselves. And these guys are just like skulking in the dark, knocking them out.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought that'd be interesting.
right. Yeah, that would be interesting. Like, but will they have guns? I mean, there won't be any melee, right?
So melee attacks were in. I mean, like I pressed middle mouse button, my guys go, "Hacha!" I don't think I ever tried to attack anybody with it though, but definitely they're in.
So the zombies would be all melee without flashlights, and then
Yes, yeah, and then like there'd be one lone survivor with his flashlight and pistol. Pretty
I
much like
like
what PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds has right now with the zombie mode for partners. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be definitely up for that. I mean, just give me something else to do than Star Marine, Arena Commander, and trying to take over Korea, and I'm all for it. So
Yeah, I mean, there's so many tools that they're going to be giving us with this new patch. So many things that you can do. I mean, like, if you really wanted to, you can play cargo football. You could, like, somebody could collect a quest or a mission, if you want to call it that, from a quest giver or a mission giver, and put that in his ship. And you might have another team to try and intercept them. I mean, of course, this is going to happen organically anyway with counter missions, and they've mentioned this. But you can basically organize these with other teams, and basically it's capture the core but fun. Yeah.
Or scavenger hunts, Find the random knocks on the surface of a planet or a moon.
I mean, why not? And later on, I suppose, when we do get larger ships and we get more control and we get the rendered texture and stuff over.
Wait, I thought rendered texture was already in. Isn't what
well,
we're seeing up there?
That's what we're seeing right there. That's rendered texture, but I meant like with the 3D models as well. So like
right.
Yeah, not just.
I don't. That's not rendered texture though. That's a completely different piece of text for holographic.
That's what CIG are calling rendered texture. The holographic rendering is what they're calling rendered texture.
Are they though?
Yeah, yes, it is.
I'm a bit torn on that because from what I understand the technological perspective of it, rendered texture adds a camera into a scene, and what the camera sees, it then renders to a flat texture that can be used on any polygon, on any physical surface.
Traditionally, rendered texture is basically rendering anything, like a video you see in ArtCorp on the TV screens to a texture. Yeah. But then CIG's RTT is completely different and involves cameras, like you said, as well as what I said before. So like everything.
Right. Yeah. But I just don't think that the holographic displays is also part of the rendered texture.
Okay. Probably not. I think Tyler called it PBR or physically based rendering or something back.
That's something completely different.
Yeah,
still.
but somebody else then said, Myre, you're wrong. It's not. So I was like, oh, okay. Well, it's something. I'm not a coder. I just play video games, man. But yeah. So I guess right now, and what's happening in the videos, we're running towards a Cutlass Black, the new rework, which looks amazing. It looks really good. And A lot of features are in, some features are not, such as the what are they calling it, an air shield in this ramp there. Like the ramp is supposed to have the same tech that the Teverin ships do that prevents the ship from depressurizing when you open and close that thing arbitrarily, but the side doors will not. Yeah. So yeah, but otherwise, I think it's pretty much feature complete at this point, barring that.
Apart from the door not obscuring sunlight, I just saw. That's a minor thing.
Right.
Like you could, yeah.
Is it the door or is it my torchlight?
No, it's actually the door.
Right.
It's just a flag. Like, but how did the Cutlass handle?
The Cutlass handled
Like
as you'd
compared
expect.
to the old one.
Kind of as you would expect, really. I mean, I didn't really have much time flying it in space, so to truly compare it with the old one, it'd be very difficult, especially given that the new one, well, is using the new Item 2.0 system and that kind of stuff as well. I'd have to fly the old one in the same environment to really have a good comparison, but it felt as you would expect, really, like heavy. Like on the ground, very difficult to maneuver, especially the closer to the ground you are, because of, I guess, the thrust against the ground. But the further up you went, the smoother the ride, as it were.
So was it like a gradual transition, or did it just cut off?
Gradually, of course, as you did.
Gradual.
imagine.
So atmospheric density it's like a gradient.
It's
from
simulated,
distance. Yeah. Oh, that's very nice.
And it's really cool, as you can see there. Really, I mean, like what is not really that you can't really see from this video, because the video is a small screen that's been stretched to make it, well, like larger. I mean, is that well, almost everything in the 3.0 demo build is a screenshot, is worthy of a wallpaper. Almost everything. You could turn your character one way and it was just amazing, or the other way, it's just great.
Yeah.
But yeah, the MFDs on the new Cutlass are amazing. They were so good. So
And-
yeah, to look at.
And being able to actually manipulate. And did the little power distributor, did it actually work?
It does.
Okay.
So, the
Item
way,
2.0 works fine.
oh yeah, Item 2.0 is in fact in. Yes, indeed. So how it does work is actually pretty interesting. And this kind of makes me feel weird looking at the video, sorry, but like I did when I was on the show floor, I was like, whoa, what's going on, man? But like yeah, power management is something that is, yeah, I know, right? Is something that is a new thing.
But it does look so cool.
To citizens, yeah, indeed. It's a new thing to citizens, power management, and it's something that we're going to have to get used to. Like on the Ursa River, for instance, it's probably a better demo of it there. I tried to do one for people. I don't know if anyone actually picked it and pulled it into a YouTube video or something. But you have a latent amount of power that you use, I've run out of words, basically. But like when you turn on the car and you look at the power usage, you can see that the power usage isn't that much. Like the needle is like maybe a quarter through. And if you or your co-pilot goes into the component system and they basically, like, say, turn on one of the guns, you know, then the power usage, even though the gun isn't being fired, increases. And if that power isn't being consumed at that steady rate, then you're not going to be able to use that gun. Now, I imagine that that's probably going to be tied in with the fuel system eventually, the same way that stamina and oxygen are going to be tied in with the with the stamina system. Basically.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I get you. Okay,
No,
that's cool.
Yeah, there's really no way
But
of
you know,
telling.
yeah, okay, right. But if you got okay, for instance, no, but I was mentioning actually the triangular thing where you can adjust power from shields to weapons to thrusters. Does that work? Like if you push it all the way to thrusters, you will be able to maneuver more, but your shields are super ineffective, and you can't really fire for more than 3 shots until it overheats or something like that.
Okay, so given the format of the show, there wasn't any like like that. We tried not to like spend too much time on the science, basically, because like it's kind of like catering to new viewers and stuff. So we didn't really have much time to say, okay, now I'm gonna turn the shields off and see if this works and that works. But I try to do things like, as you said, like move the triangle to thrusters, and it did make the Ursa Rover feel faster. So and it gave it more torque. It felt anyway. Maybe it's a placebo effect or something. I don't know, but it felt like it did do something.
Well, what we'll need to do when 3.0 hits is drag racing.
Oh yeah, definitely.
With different settings.
So what was definitely apparent is if you have a co-pilot, then you'll have much better control over all those things. I mean, sure, you could probably keybind them all and all that kind of stuff, but definitely like being able to have somebody in the second seat to be able to apply the power to your rear shields when it's 100% necessary, and to apply the power to boost when you want to make those turns, and is going to be really cool. It's going to be really cool. And sure, you're going to have your lone wolves and your solo players who spend hours and hours perfecting it, so they don't need a co-pilot, but they will still have a hard time against a pair of people who are communicating because of how it works. It's
right.
really cool.
Yeah, and which is why like an F-14 Tomcat works better when you have a pilot and the gunner and someone who can because it's just too much to do for one person to do it as efficiently as two people who share the load.
Yeah, and
I
of course,
completely agree.
There are no more flappy engines there on the Cutlass. I mean, I think the whole thing now just feels like such a sturdy beast. It's a great ship, and I really do feel like it's the flagship of 3.0 for sure, because you'll be able to do everything with it. Search and rescue, like cargo missions, combat to a degree. Yeah.
Right. Too bad you didn't get the Constellation Aquila in, because I'd love to have seen that as well.
Yeah, I know. It would have been nice.
We saw it in the demo.
We did. We would have been nice to have a play with it for sure, but unfortunately we did not. Yeah.
Because I want that canopy, man. That looks so good. And something that I saw in the demo, and I'm so happy that it's finally in. And after all the time that ever since the Constellation was first introduced, the turrets are static.
Yeah.
But in the 3.0 demo, both of them were pulled in and the covers were closed. Finally. I think that's all part of the system, item system 2.0, and the system that also brings the compressible landing gear.
Yeah. So
just all the animations that are like separated into their own little entities, so they can be activated.
So speaking of item 2.0 and crew positions and crew roles, like live right now on Twitch, because I guess it's also recorded for YouTube too. We have Matt Sherman in chat, and he's saying how smaller ships will have more crossover when it comes to the seat roles. So for instance, in the Ursa Rover, the secondary, the co-pilot basically has the ability to basically have the same amount of control as the pilot does, or at least it did to a degree in the show floor demo. But larger ships like the Idris, for instance, if you are the missile officer in the missile bay of an Idris, you're not going to be able to, say, play around with shields. I wouldn't think.
You get the missiles and that's it.
Yeah, so you still have that catered experience, and you still have each role is necessary for a thing. Also, check this out. This is what I was talking about with the flashlight duels. So like,
yes, I saw that. It was super impressive, and it looks so realistic. And finally, the flashlight
is good. Yeah,
it works.
It works really well. Yeah. It was really cool.
It actually does look like a modern flashlight would, although you would kind of imagine maybe you probably will be able to get a better flashlight.
Right.
Because I saw that in the demo when they were showing off the Mobiglass system. DJ, yeah. The Mobiglass system, the Mobiglass system for dressing up. After the guy put on his helmet, he separately put on the flashlight on the helmet.
Right.
So it is its own entity now, and quite possibly you will be able to get one that's, I don't know, stronger, wider, maybe, different color, or stuff like that. Maybe even eventually different spectrum. So maybe it's like a UV light that then makes like alien flora illuminate back in really funky colors and shit like that.
Right.
I'm sorry, but just my mind's just going into theory crafting mode. So I'm just.
Oh no, it's cool. It's cool. So one thing that Disco was really keen to point out on the show floor was that there's no draw distance. There's no max draw distance. You can see how far
Right.
the horizon goes. It goes forever. You can see.
It goes to Crusader.
It goes to Crusader. It is, it's phenomenal, and I think that the whole flashlight battle kind of like really, showed that. Like, there was about like maybe a kilometer or so like distance between us initially. I had to climb up a mountain. I mean, like a rock, but soon enough, I actually managed to see like his flashlight. I was like, wait a minute, that has to be him. And also, I had a look at one of these videos. Actually, it was the first attempt of the release and catch video, and as DJ was falling back down to the staging area, all the way in the freaking stratosphere, or whatever you want to call it, you could see explosions, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of meters, maybe couple thousand meters.
You could see the players fighting.
You could see the players
on the
exploding
surface.
on the staging area. I mean, sure, there was like small orange blooms, but you could see them. It was ridiculous.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, from what I saw, they still have some work to do with the LODs.
Definitely,
I believe.
Yeah. So,
especially with the Cutlass, because in one of those demos, or at least your attempts to jump out and then get caught again, while you could still see the engine trails and the contrails of the Cutlass, it would just disappear.
Right.
The actual ship would disappear, which was kind of...
That happened in one release and catch attempt. It did, where the Cutlass disappeared and you couldn't come back.
I think there's just LOD issue, like the LOD wasn't there, or maybe there is an actual draw distance, but it's not for the planet. It's not there, but for ships it is, and maybe it was just set to far too little. It's something to be tweaked. I'm sure it can be fixed.
Right. Definitely.
Fix it.
Fix what? Oh, wait, okay. Are you talking to?
Yes. I
was like,
I'm talking to Sherman.
Yes.
I'm talking to CIG Sherman because he's behind the LODs for the Cutlass.
Is he?
I don't know. Probably not.
Anyway, so on the video now,
this
video is actually really helpful because it just kind of like if we run out of things to say, hey, by the way, on the video. So this is the Miss Prospector. And this was the first time that we ever got to see the interior of the ship. So, of course, a lot of the screens and stuff are, they show placeholder information. At some point with RTT and all that kind of stuff, you'll be able to, I suppose, make more use of it when the kiosk system is in, all that kind of stuff. I don't really feel like they want to go for just, as you can see there, just placeholder items and stuff. That's probably going to be the manifest for your for things that you've mined and stuff.
Possibly, or
the manifest computer.
Yeah, or maybe it's the engineering console, but it says it says life support over there, mining maintenance.
Yeah. It really could be anything, but I feel like it might have something to do with that. But I guess at this point, it's all pure speculation. What I found was interesting, actually, and it's something I did not know until the new hangar flares came out today, was that this ship is brand new, as in like it's a 2947 model. The Anvil Terrapin is a 2740 something model. And apparently, it's still like in a prototype stage. So, what is?
So, are they taking the piss? I mean, is it possible that the fact that
they're
ship,
self-aware?
that the ship there's been in development for 200 years is a sort of a reference of Star Citizen being in development for so long?
I don't know. You'd have to ask the writers that question. But it was interesting. It was yeah, but to me it's like I already like the design design language of the MISC ships, and to know that they are technically
Well,
the newer
there
ships.
has to be at least one person, I suppose.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
Well, you don't like it? I like that, like
Nope.
the canopies and stuff. I mean, look at the field of view on this ship. It's got the best FOV of any ship you can ride in at the moment. You can look from left to right and not see a single piece of hull. And I suppose it's because
that
it's
is
such
true.
a new model. And
I suppose, yeah.
I love
Yes,
my bubble
but
ships,
they
man.
just-
I'm
they
a
just look
Jetsons
like-
fan. I'm a Jetsons guy, man.
I did like that show, but I don't appreciate the design aesthetic of the MISC ships, unfortunately. No offense to the people who designed them, it's just my personal preference. Like I said, I prefer Origin and Aegis.
It's okay, Dodge. You're allowed to have bad taste.
But I'm not saying that it's a cool looking ship. I just don't like it, aesthetically.
Oh no, of course.
It's a personal thing.
Difference,
It's a personal
yeah, of course. Yeah. I can't wait to see this thing actually go ahead and do what it was designed to do. Like mining and stuff. And we'll get to see it eventually for sure. But I just like the MISC ships. I just do. And what I like most about them is that you go into an MISC ship and it's a MISC ship. And it's actually something that's going to help them really down the line with making new MISC ships. I mean, like, we've seen some of the interior design of the Hull C, and some of those things look very similar to this ship as well. There are some things in the ship that look very, very similar to the the Reliance. The back door, even though it doesn't open in this ship, looks like it's been used in some way to form the back of the ship.
Right.
It's really, really interesting.
And on the Hull C, you also have... And on the whole sea, the interior, it looks very much like there are several things borrowed from the what's the big one, the Starfarer.
Starfarer, yes, but that's how things work, Like you're a car guy, like even across different car companies, they use different like hull. They use this hulls, chassis. They some like car companies share chassis even between each other.
Yep. They do, but they're usually part of the same umbrella company.
Right. But yeah.
Well, that's what happens. Like right now, Volkswagen owns Volkswagen, Audi, Porsche, Lamborghini, and several others, Bentley. Right, but you have a lot of things shared between all those companies, even though just 10, 15 years ago they were different companies and they would not dream of sharing.
Yeah.
But now,
yeah. But yeah, it's a neat ship. You can see that where the tanks and stuff should be on the Prospector, the tanks aren't there. It makes me think that maybe the tanks are modular, or maybe they're just not there in that build. But yeah. Something that we haven't talked about yet is the new inner thought system as well. So, unfortunately, I can't skip through the video and look for where we're using it. We're just currently just falling very slowly towards our death there. Disco is not impressed with that decision.
I wasn't either. Did you clip out of the ship, or did you actually exit?
I climbed down the ladder and then fell to my death. Yeah.
Well, that's entirely your fault then.
But then to make up for it, we can see, I think it was, I couldn't see it. I think it's Disco or Gamble at the time, just like breaking through the atmosphere to look cool, I love the trails. The trails are a really, they were a really big point of contention to a lot of people, but they work so well. I mean, look at that. I mean, like, they're not overdone. They barely even, make a trail. I mean, of several ships. I think it's like maybe a ship long, the trail, a ship and a half. Of course, different ships.
Well, it depends on your speed and how much throttle you're giving it.
The throttle, and also the component as well. It will depend heavily on the component too, because you have stealth components, you have industrial components, and that kind of thing as well.
Yeah. I love how he still has the flashlight on. You can see the cone.
Yeah, and Chat actually got on my back for it, because even though on the Prospector it's not that bad, In the rover, it kind of is because like you're much closer to all the consoles, and the actual HUD isn't holographic. It's on, so like there's a lot of glare on the screens as a result. So
Yeah.
chat was like, "Myre, bad pilot." It was great.
Well, for most of the vehicle operation, you won't be able to pilot in a heavy armor set anyway. You'll have to take that off, so there potentially won't be such an issue in the final game
Yeah.
because
So
it's just too bulky. Those
Yeah.
things are just too bulky.
So you can see there the footprints, and I was looking at my footprint for a second there. You can,
Yeah,
I look at it before
yeah.
it decays. Yeah. But yeah, if it did decay, I'm not even sure. I think I was like, maybe it does. Maybe if it does, I don't want to look at it, so I looked away. But yeah, the inner thought system. So I think in a second we're gonna go and grab a ship or something, and so you can see a bit more of that. How it works in the demo build is that you press a key. And you,
I think it was F.
So I haven't actually seen the gun move myself. We never managed to coordinate it because whenever I tried to do these tutorials, Gamble and DJ were just like, press the buttons. But like, but as we were going towards the car there, like you could see the gun of the ship like roll up onto the car, and that is the suit that they wore in the Friday demo. Like when we saw that ship, we're like that suit, we're like, wait, that's blatantly a CIG ship. I mean, like suit,
Suit.
like
Yeah,
because it's all
yeah.
modular. You can choose your base suit and everything else. That guy, I was having a hard time getting that seat, so I relieved him of his position there.
So how does the inner thought system work?
So you press the button, and you can see there
it's F, right?
You press F, and you see like there's a ring there, a ring, and the circle appears on your screen, and you can move that around. And I think when you do that, you can still move your head around slightly, but like then you're allowed to basically click on points of interest. How it works on the show floor, and it's not necessarily how it's going to work in the game when it gets released, is that different points of interaction are anchored to specific parts of an item. So like for instance, on the Prospector, it was on the back of the seat to the right, and not like the entire seat. But of course, but of course that could change. It was actually really easy and really easy to use, to be honest, once you got used to it, because you didn't have to put the circle directly onto something to make it work. You didn't even have to like move the circle onto it. If you had a list of items, you didn't even have to bring the circle onto the first item to select it. So long as it was the closest thing your circle was on, it would be the one highlighted. So it actually was in terms of user friendliness, it was actually pretty decent to use. Of course,
Quite intuitive, you would say.
Intuition is the word I was looking for. Yeah. Yeah. So it was really good. Really cool.
And compared to what we have now, do you think it's like it's an improvement?
It is a marked improvement from what we have right now with the U system, and I can only see it getting better when they make it more. Oh my god, that was actually really cool on the thing. Like he shot the Gladius once, and then the Gladius was like, no. But yeah, it was really cool. It was really neat. And once the writers come in and they put in more context with the different items you can interact with, it'll become even cooler to use and to look at. With the ships as well, the Disco again giving an It's like, and Myre isn't very good at what he's doing right now, but here's what we have. So no, this is a show floor guy going inside, but. The new inner thought systems actually allows you to, you can see right there, do several different things that you couldn't possibly do before. Before, interacting with a ship was a binary process. Press a button, go inside. But now with the Aurora, you can open the ring door, you can deploy the ladder, you can do both. It's really cool. It's really neat. It's a really neat way of doing it, because it gives you more options. You can say, and this is my Aurora, and you can open the door and you can like show off to somebody. If you want it to be like a chauffeur or a bodyguard for somebody else, you can open the door for them without then rudely like taking the lead and that kind of thing as well. And you're frozen in the funniest of ways. You're like
actually I think we should take a break right now, because I think the problem is on your side, because it's been freezing every few seconds now, and I look at the stream and it freezes the stream as well. So
the stream.
The stream freezes as well. It's not just the call.
You mean with your frames?
No, the stream freezes.
Right. Well, it's nothing I can fix. Big household.
No, unfortunately, but it's now that I started complaining about it, it's fine. So, thank you, Twitch.
Thanks, Darj, for pointing out all our imperfections and stuff. But no, Darj has the wait. So was it freezing for the OBS thing, or was it for the actual stream preview? If you're watching that,
I'm watching the stream on Twitch, and it's freezing a few seconds after it freezes on Discord.
Right. Well, for me, like everything is working. Like the I haven't dropped a single frame since that last freeze when you froze.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind then.
Them's the breaks, I suppose.
So it must be
It's
it's probably just Discord. Yeah.
Blame Discord. Thanks, Discord, for the free video. You suck. Oh man. So yeah, that's pretty much it with the interaction system. It works really well. Of course, if it were ready for prime time, then 3.0 will be out. But of course, there are a lot of things there that aren't quite ready for prime time. But by the time it's out, it'll be even better. But right now, it works really well.
Right. This is like not a question about like what happened, but like your preference. Would you be okay with CIG releasing what you played on the show floor before 3.0?
Would I be okay with CIG releasing the show floor demo before 3.0? I think that it will appease a lot of people because they'd be able to play something, but I feel like it's not really necessary because really by doing that, then a lot of, then they'd basically play to death this, and the full impact of 3.0, I suppose, would be dampened, as opposed to if everything was to be released at the same time. And of course, some people are going to jump down my throat because they're like, well, you've played 3.0 demo. You know what it feels like to not play it. And I suppose you're in that camp as well. You can say that. But I feel like, yes, it was really cool. Yes, there is stuff to do. Yes, because it's a sandbox game, there is always going to be a ton of emergent gameplay you can reap out of this kind of stuff. But I don't think that it's in the long run it'd be great, in terms of like what there is to show. Like they showed what they need to show.
Yeah, I agree. I think they should wait and polish and fix the bugs and release what they plan to release in the first place.
Yeah. Besides, even though it did look super stable, and it was at short stretches of like 15 minutes or something like that, and we never really had any crashes. We only had one crash on Wednesday, one crash on Friday, and then the rest were just disconnections. There was still like a full staff of volunteers on the show floor to make sure that everything worked without a hitch. We had like our own tech support. So like that's something that we wouldn't have. And really, we are accustomed to, the crash counter of 2.0 and stuff. But I feel like it's not worth it. Not worth it. It wouldn't be. If it was as smooth as it was here, and it was guaranteed to be as smooth as it was here, sure. But I don't feel in my heart that that's currently where we are. Also, there's still a limited amount of ships and stuff here. People have all their ships and stuff they wouldn't be able to use in this build because it's not there. They're not enabled.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, is my answer.
It is a great tech demo of what's to come, but yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
sure.
Moving on. What else was cool?
What else was cool? You have to tell me. You have to tell me.
Right. Did you get any opportunities to experience the funky rear hatches like they did in the last year's Gamescom demo?
Where
it wouldn't open all the way, so if you landed on a rock or something, the person wouldn't be able to jump on it and then get back in. Did you notice that as an issue?
That wasn't. Yes, kind of. I mean, it's just something that I suppose they'd have to think about. I mean, like, they could make it so that it wouldn't be very realistic that the hatches. What the hell happened in there? Like the dude died and flew and hit the back of the wall. Anyway, like they could make it so that the drawbridge or hatch or whatever like extends further than it should do, just so that it can like fit a bunch of terrain. But no, I don't know. I mean, like it was there. You just as a pilot. Very much in the same way, like in Elite Dangerous, like not every single place is landable terrain. You just have to use your brain.
Yeah.
I'm sure that there'll be a landing computer or something that you could use when it comes out. So yeah, yeah.
Or maybe something that I think I saw on one of the ATVs regarding this issue is basically the door having it's a double door. It has an extendable part inside it, so when it opens to the original position, a bit just slides out further until it touches the ground. Like that, that could be a solution.
Yeah, I mean, like if you saw the, I mean, you did see, but to the audience, if you saw the Friday presentation, well, like when they landed, it wasn't flush with the ground. They had to then lift off and then like while hovering, point the ramp towards the ground. I mean, they did make it look like it was landed, but if you were paying attention, it wasn't, and that's why they couldn't turn off. And that's why they couldn't turn off the ship, and to fix the whole buggy going up the ramp.
And probably that's why what was the issue that the buggy just crashed into it instead of being able to drive up.
And that's not with anybody telling me or anything. That's just like what I think it looked like. Anyway.
Powers of observation.
Powers of observation with my eyes, my optics. But yeah.
But okay. Jumping to that, was not expecting to see an Idris. Ermagerd.
Oh yeah, that was I suppose really, really interesting for everybody, to be honest. I mean, nobody expected to see the Idris. It just kind of happened, and I don't think people kind of grasp the awesomeness of it, to be honest. I mean, like, it's how many Boeing 747s is an Idris again? Like, many.
All of them.
Several video games like have entire FPS missions and maps which are just Boeing 747, and you have this thing which is like several freaking like floors. I can't even like begin to start on like describing it, but it was amazing. They did it just right. They did it good justice, I suppose, in its in showcasing the Idris, I suppose. The actual like space fight, I feel, was maybe just a bit unnerving to backers who own Idrises because the time to kill was so short. I mean, sure, it's more of a...
Right, but you know, on the one hand, thing is, the bigger the ship is, the more powerful its defenses are, and at the same time, the more powerful its offensive capabilities are.
That may be true, but at the same time,
if you have like two ships of equal size and power fighting against each other, I would say the time to kill would be same. Like if you have two Auroras fighting against each other, or you have two Idrises fighting against each other, the time to kill would be the same. So, but if you had like just a Cutlass trying to, fire to just destroy an Idris, I think it would run out of ammo 100 times over before it would even scratch the damn thing.
Oh yeah. And that being said, though, I mean, I think what was on my mind, I don't want to put words in other people's mouths, but like even if the time to kill was accelerated, which I assume it was for the demo.
Yes, of course.
At least one would hope so. Like, what I would like to see would be, I mean, like, for instance, the Starfarer has an entire suite of escape pods. I would love for, this exists in games already, but like, in FPS games, a downed but not out state, like in like in PUBG, for instance, you get in a team, you get shot, you're on the ground. I feel like there needs to be that state when things are at critical mass, you can't move, you can't do anything, but you can still get out of your seat and react. We have 30 seconds before everything blows up. Maybe if the enemy keeps shooting you in that state, you will explode eventually. But I feel like that kind of state needs like maybe even double the amount of health as the ship has when it's like in its normal state. You have the ability to be able to use the escape pods and stuff like that. I mean, like...
I agree. I agree completely.
Yeah. Again, I mean, it was a very, very hard to coordinate and orchestrate presentation, and so they couldn't really do those fights for longer than they were. They couldn't they couldn't do Star Wars style trench runs down the Nidris and take out specific parts because timing wise, you would need like several discos, not just the one. You'd need like red 1 through 8. But yeah.
Yes.
I think, yeah, it was decent for what it was. I was happy to see the Idris for sure, especially to see more of the interior, to see how far it's come as well.
Yes, yeah. I think it's been ready for a while now.
They have been working on it for quite some time. That's true.
And but yeah, I hope that at least in an ATV, if not in 3.0, we'll be able to. Well, I don't think we'll be able to get our hands on it in 3.0, but then in an ATV we'll get a presentation of what it's like, all the way from boarding it to navigating all the corridors and the sleeping areas and the bridge and stuff like that.
Definitely. I'd love to see it soon. I mean, so you asked me a question about would I like to see this build in like before 3.0 actually comes out, and I said no. Would you like to see the Idris in? And I know that this has been confirmed already, but they do not want to do hangar ready states anymore. They'd rather just make the ship available and work, because so much work goes into making things just hangar ready in the first place. But if that information was gone, would you like to have seen the Idris, say, in a hangar ready state? If not in a hangar, then maybe in one of the planets before it's already flyable, or what? Would you
docked at a station?
Docked at a station, but would you like to see it like enterable?
Yeah, from the station. So it's like permanently docked at Port Olisar.
But you don't own it, so why would you have
in
any
an
access to
armistice
it?
zone?
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Pretty please? No, bang. I mean, I'm with you that I'd like to see it maybe like it docked to a station, just to give you that feeling that, like it's not just you and the other players who are there, but like maybe NPCs are doing stuff.
Yeah.
I don't feel like you should be able to enter it. I know people try and glitch into it, but for those people, I think maybe they should like not render the inside just so you can see the outside of it.
It's a special stripped down Idris.
But I
or
think
maybe
that
just
maybe
or in 3.0. Oh, this, what'd be cool if the Navy would come in an Idris and totally NPC just dog there.
just a scripted kind of event. That'd be neat, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. That'd be really cool, for sure.
Lots of cool things, but I think I'm also kind of agree with them that I wouldn't want to reveal too much until Squadron 42, where it is going to be an awesome experience.
Yeah,
It's not going to be at the very beginning of the game, I believe, something like that. But definitely after the very beginning, you do get the Morrow tour, which I believe is how your character is assigned to.
I mean, yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just looking at I think I only saw the reload animation for that gun once, and that was it. So I'm happy to see it again, like grabbing a freaking massive cartridge and slamming it in. I actually met the dev who was in charge of designing that and the Devastator shotgun. Cool guy. Plays a lot of Dota,
Great.
apparently. But yeah, do you have any other questions?
Just when?
You're asking me?
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, so as with everything, soon TM. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, the ATV is coming this Thursday. If you're watching this on YouTube as it released tomorrow. So we'll get another burn down segment, and we'll be able to see just how many bugs they've been able to squish or smash. Speaking of, Mark Aben got promoted. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Much deserved.
Yes, but why does his promotion have anything to do with his screen time? I want my mark. I want my marquee time, man.
Yeah. Maybe that will give him more time to actually work on the show instead of smashing the bugs, because now he'll be able to delegate the bug smashing to his team.
Fair enough. Anyway.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it, and it looks so good. Like having had the ship like in the evening haze of the atmosphere with the Crusader in the night sky, just like, oh, I want it.
So looking at that actually reminded me of something, to be honest. The Auroras, notoriously in this build, don't have that much fuel. And when you're playing in dogfighting, when you run out of fuel, well, you can still fly around. In 3.0, when you run out of fuel, well, you're going to crash. Like, that's what happens in atmosphere anyway. I never...
Well, in atmosphere, you're constantly using boost or afterburner fuel?
Well, in 2.6.3, you still are. You are. In the Aurora, like, just move, and you'll burn hydrogen fuel just moving. In other ships, I think that they're a bit more fuel efficient, and that's why you never notice it. But with the Aurora, it's very noticeable. But what I would know, what happened at least once when we were streaming is I would fly an Aurora, trying to fly to the dark side and run out of fuel, and then crash back down. I was wondering, because we never tried it, if I was to break atmosphere, which takes about 20 or 25 fuel units in the Aurora, it's possible, and then I burnt the rest of my fuel, I was wondering if I would still be able to fly 2.6.3 style, or if I would just float into space. And that's something I couldn't try. It's something I didn't think about trying.
It's kind of odd because a ship shouldn't be using its fuel just for normal flying about. I thought that hydrogen fuel was only for boost and afterburner.
No, the hydrogen fuel is to power the boost and afterburner and the thrusters when they're normally used. You just use more hydrogen when you are boosting than you are when you're maneuvering normally. Yeah.
I guess I haven't played in too long to notice this, but to me, it's always been. I always thought that it was just boost and afterburner that used up the fuel, and there were ships that could regenerate, and there were ships that could not, and those that could not needed to go to a cryastor to refuel.
Well, I mean, the ships can regenerate. They have fuel scoops and stuff. You can't regenerate when you're planet side because you don't have those like nebula or like gas to get it from, I suppose.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Background hydrogen. Yes.
Exactly.
Interesting. Needs a lot of exploration when it hits.
Citation needed. Anyway, so yeah.
Just one last question before I think we should wrap this up. Back to the inner thought system, because I was just reminded by the video that we were looking at. What is the procedure for turning on a ship and turning the engines on and everything?
So like I mentioned before, even when you're entering a ship, you have so many options. You can choose to basically open the door, then deploy the ladders, and like let's use the Aurora for our example. You can open the door, pull down the ladders, then get inside, or you can just press enter ship, and it does all three of those motions at the same time. When you're getting to the ship, you can sit in the seat, and then you're given a couple options. You can turn the power on, and this turns on all the lights and all your MFDs and stuff. You can turn the engine on, which will then additionally allow you to then fly, or you can press flight ready, which will turn the power and engines on at the same time, and then you can fly. And that's how it works in the demo. Yeah.
Okay. And I suppose like flight ready is somewhere central, and engines on and power on are somewhere that you actually have to find on the controls.
Indeed. I mean, if you watched these long enough, you would see, and I'm not asking you to because it's a lot of gameplay. You might see it here if one of the guys gets into the seat there. But in the prospector, the flight ready is like just above your head, central, and then the other ones are elsewhere. But so it's pretty.
I'm just asking because there was a
You froze for a second. Yep.
There was a demo by in one of the ATVs. I think Aaron Roberts just for the inner thought system. Like but I think it was a bit different because it was like a wheel of 6 things that you could do that open up. Like if you look at your crotch, basically. It was a wheel of 6 things opened up. But if you looked in the cockpit, you would be able then to interact with the actual items in the cockpit.
Yeah. So, with this, at least, like, if you are brand new to a ship, it might take you a little while to know where to find these buttons, simply because you're new to that ship. But as Matt Sherman says here in the chat live on Twitch, he says the end goal is for learnable patterns based on the various seat types and manufacturers. So I suppose if you were to fly one Drake ship, you would kind of know where to find, where to find those buttons on another Drake ship. More or less like how when you're driving a car, you know where to put the key.
Yeah. I can totally see that because you have different manufacturers that have their own little design solutions for interactions like with the climate control and the radios.
As you can see that really
like
quickly. So power on is up there on the top right. Flight ready was Flight ready is central right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But as for finickiness of it, I mean, well, first of all, you're not required to do any of this. You can easily, and I keybound this just for when I didn't feel like it, when the camera wasn't on me. Press the button, flight ready, instantly, fast, almost faster than normal, to be honest. Like that we currently can use. But like I mentioned before, with the inner thought system, it doesn't require you to mouse over directly onto like a point in order for it to work. So long as it's the closest point than anything else, it will be the active point, and then you can use that. And so it doesn't require you to spend forever like you're playing a Telltale game looking for that one tiny...
Right.
Yeah.
Pixel hunting.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. There wasn't much...
And if you see several of them lit up, is it scroll wheel to change between them?
It's not scroll wheel. It's just like a minor mouse movement, and it works really well because like it's just always following that circle. So like
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just wondering because they kept saying that you'll be able to use the scroll wheel, or maybe it's if one item has several functions, you use the scroll wheel to change between the two. Like if you have,
I think you could
walking up to an
wheel.
elevator, and you have several floors. You don't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You just scroll through the options and then click.
Yeah, so I mean, it's not the most fresh thing in my mind right now. It's about 2 weeks old, but I think maybe you could have used a scroll wheel, but just moving them because of how easy it was to move the inner thought circle. I never really tried. But yeah,
Yeah.
All in all, it was pretty decent, man. It was a lot of fun to do, a lot of fun to use,
and
of course,
again, I'm very, very jelly.
But yes, more to come, I suppose.
I'm liking a Beyonce song right now.
Anyway, so yeah, more to come. more to come. I mean, look at the MFDs. I love the MFDs for sure. I didn't really get much time on the Cutlass, to be honest. I think
there was just too much to do.
I always allowed them to fly it, and then I'd just be in the cargo, because I love to zoom in and show off like towels.
Were you being Miss Daisy? Chauffeured around.
But there is so much there that I'd love to go back into and have a better look at. There's a lot more control over what you can do. Again, you have to turn on and off different guns and stuff. Like, let's say the guns on the turret of this Cutlass, for instance, they're not on when you turn on the ship. The guns are off. You need to go into the power settings either here as the pilot, or you need to go...
That's a disco.
That's a disco. That's a disco. So you need to go into the power settings as the pilot, or as the turret operator, you need to then press the power option on the turret itself. Which is pretty neat. Yeah,
because the default option is as low power usage as possible to conserve as much fuel as you possibly can.
Exactly. Because the moment they're armed, they start to use up more, and the entire ship starts to use up more energy. The locking system was actually in to a degree, but because there was no party system, the moment somebody sat in and became the captain of the ship, everybody else was then locked out of being able to open doors and stuff.
Well, but that I believe that. Well, I trust that system is going to be.
The moment they implement the party system, I think that's fine. It'll be complete. Yeah, a thing of the past.
Right. The entire thing about legal or physical ownership is going to be very interesting.
I would love to see how that plays out, to be honest, because the way I see it, if you have physical ownership or something, you can park it and then you can log off, log back on, and you can use that ship again. because it's yours.
Because people won't be able to, unless they go through special means, they won't be able to confiscate.
I mean,
your
like,
ship.
look at somebody like Texas Skulls, who has like several of like one kind of ship, right? I mean, he could easily say, well, you can have ship number 6, and I will never claim insurance on it, so it's technically yours until it blows up. Forever. I mean, that's how I see it working, but we have to wait and see how it works in practice.
Yes. Oh, so much fun. So much fun. I thought even being with such a big gap between episodes, the hype and the want does not diminish. It does not wane. And
Yeah.
but that is why we do this, because we want this project to succeed and we are patient.
Definitely, man. I mean, like every single day. I mean, like I come on, I stream it. You know, like I can't say that I'm quite done with it. Yes, just yet. Even 2.6.3. You know, like the community makes it so that that's not going to happen anytime soon. But yeah. Anyway, I can't wait for this app to come out. It was a lot of fun to play it. Well, some of it anyway. And yeah, you should try it.
Yeah, sure. I'll just invent a time machine, go back to, what was it, the 26th of previous month, and I'll actually decide to go wait in line for 2 hours so I can play this for 15 minutes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that concludes it then.
That concludes the episode for today, I would believe. Yes. Do you want to have the honors? Why don't you?
I don't know what episode number this is.
I think it's 418, but don't take my word for it.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen here on YouTube, and also everybody who's watching live on Twitch TV, thank you so much for watching. This has been the Fortnightly Frontier, Season 4, Episode 18. I've been Myre, and that has been Mr. Darjanator. So awkward. I love it. All right. So, yes, we will see you in 2 weeks' time with more Fortnite Frontier.
Hopefully.
And until then,
hopefully not more real life issues crop
indeed.
up to create more delays. Because, goddamn.
And until then, we will see you in the verse. Oh, wait,
Around the verse.
We owe 7. No, we don't rub it.
We do. Wait, it's been so long. What? We say.
We owe 7.
We'll see you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we owe 7 and we say in the verse.
Yeah,
that's
we
the
say.
one. Whatever, just cut it.